In this video, I'm going to share with you a really simple template to help you avoid building up tax debts with the ATO, not having money set aside to kind of reinvest in the business, and generally just not being able to manage your cash effectively. It's a really simple kind of buckets strategy that I think is really effective. And although it's simple, you'd be surprised the amount of businesses that I see that still are operating out of one bank account, and all of the ins and all of the outs for their cash flow are going in one account, and they have absolutely no visibility over kind of where that money's flowing. All right, let's get into it. This first strategy is really simple. It just requires you to have 3 different bank accounts. I've called it the business buckets simplified strategy. It's like a 60-40 ratio. This is inspired by books like Profit First, inspired by books like The Barefoot Investor that use this kind of psychology of setting aside funds in different areas and not touching them and only using them for their specific purpose. So this strategy is just 3 really simple accounts. You have your main transaction account, which you're probably already using already, and you're going to keep 60% of the funds that you receive in here and use for operating expenses, use for payroll and stuff like that. But you're also going to open up, I call it a business activity statement bank account. So it's there to cover your GST, to cover your pay-as-you-go withholding for your team members' tax that you need to pay to the ATO, and also maybe for any pay-as-you-go installments for the company tax that you're going to need to pay at year end. You might want to throw some funds aside in that bank account to set it aside. So I call it a BAS account. You can call it a tax account, whatever you like, a second bank account for government-related stuff that you can't touch because you need to pay to the government eventually. And this is the one that's going to stop you getting an ATO tax debt. And then I would suggest your third account that you live with is a savings one. That's where you build up maybe some profits in the business. Some people call it a war chest, a vault. It's trying to set aside some funds and use that maybe for a quarterly dividend distribution. A lot of owners just use it to build it up and reinvest in the business for special projects. But essentially, the whole purpose of this is to quarantine only 60% of your funds that you receive into the main transaction account. So it gives you a clear idea that this is the day-to-day stuff that you're going to use for payroll, for all your other operating expenses. And then you're putting funds some aside for the government, and then you're putting some aside to build some capital in your business. So that's the really simple way to do it. There's a more complex way. I'll just unshare here that breaks it out into a few more bank accounts. I think if you just start to do this and get into the habit, that's fantastic. Maybe you want to adjust your percentages and set aside more or less. If you don't have enough in your BAS account at the end of the quarter, you might want to up that percentage. This is a slightly more nuanced approach, you'd call it. This has a main revenue account. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, potentially 6 bank accounts here. It's a lot, I know. Not everyone likes doing this, so you don't need to. I run a system in my business a little bit more similar to this. So it comes into you have a main revenue account. You still have the BAS account where you put aside funds to pay the government-related stuff. And then you might have a specific one for profit, a specific one for tax. You may want to separate out your founder's wage, or a lot of people just pay this directly from the main revenue account as well. So you could probably scrap number 5 if you're not that fast. And then having a specific one for all the other operating expenses in the business. So I'll share this template. Just let me know, DM me if you'd like a copy, and I can share a link. And you'll see on this second tab here, the bank accounts explained a little bit what goes in, some percentages here. And hopefully this helps you get on your journey to budgeting a little bit better, managing your cash flow a little bit better, and getting an understanding of actually what the hell's going on in my bank account, what money can I spend, what money do I need to set aside to pay my future liabilities to the government, and all those things. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.